How you doing?
Good. How are you, man?
Good. Been waiting on you.
Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man. We're gonna take you with our next pick right here, man.
Let's do nothing there.
Hey, but you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, man. Sorry about that.
Oh my God! He bought it! He bought it!
This is Mickey Loomis here, the GM of the New Orleans Saints. How you doing? This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good. How are you, man?
Good. Been waiting on you.
Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man. We're gonna take you with our next pick right here, man.
Let's do nothing there.
Hey, but you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, man. Sorry about that.
Oh my God! He bought it! He bought it!
This is Mickey.
All right, family, what's going on? What's going on? We are live. We are live on this beautiful Sunday afternoon, and I'm coming at you with 5, ladies and gentlemen. Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you're blessed and doing safe. Let's get it in. Come on, let's smash up the likes, smash up the likes, smash up the likes. What's going on, my family on X? How y'all doing this evening? Hope y'all are safe and blessed, ladies and gentlemen. Special birthday shout out to our friend. Before we get started, of course, we're going to be talking about the NFL draft and the sabotage that happened of Shedeur Sanders. Of course, the NFL, everything associated with the sports world has just taken the news by storm, from apparently Shannon Sharp's freakish fetish fantasies, white vanilla fantasies have come out. And then on top of that, he's made news with that all week. It's been Shannon Sharp. And then, of course, the NFL draft was this past Thursday through Saturday. And the big story, of course, was why Shedeur Sanders was not a higher draft pick. Then eventually he got picked on the final day of the draft by the Cleveland Browns. Now, I'll get to that in a minute. But before I do that, we're going to wish our brother and friend of the program, Andrew Wyatt, a happy birthday. Andrew Wyatt, of course, is the PR person for Bill Cosby. He's Bill Cosby's spokesperson, and he's blessed my show a couple of times. He supported us, donated, and we want to wish him the happiest birthday. I hope he has many more to come. So God bless you, brother. I don't know if you're watching. I know he was busy up in New York because he's gotten some couple of other clients that he's been doing some work on. But we're going to go ahead and still wish our brother happy birthday. I hope he has many more to come, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to talk about that and wish him a happy birthday wherever he is. I'm sure he's busy. But our main story and focus tonight, of course, the main topic is what happened. So let's get a round of applause to Andrew. Of course, our main story was happening. What's going on in my YouTube family? The video you just saw, that was actually a live video that happened on Friday. Shedeur Sanders was waiting to get drafted. And of course, one thing that a lot of people may or may not be familiar with, that on draft day, it's my understanding that the NFL gives these players a phone, or a phone number, if I'm not mistaken, in which they can call them so that way they're drafted. I don't believe they give out their personal phone number, but my understanding too is that Shedeur even complained that his phone number, his private number, had actually been leaked out from what I read. Now, in the video that you saw, someone, a little prick, basically called Shedeur's number, pretending to be New Orleans Saints general manager Mickey Loomis, who I don't like. for obvious reasons. I don't think he's a great general manager. Mickey Loomis is obviously one of. If you don't follow sports, I don't know if any of you follow the NFL, but here in New Orleans, where I'm from, Mickey Loomis, essentially among the fan base of the Saints, is persona non grata. Him and Derek Carr combined, because for the last 20 something years, he has been general manager. He has not had a stellar record other than bringing in Sean Payton, who brought the Saints their first Super Bowl. Sean Payton and Drew Brees. After Sean Payton has left, and even before Sean Payton even came here, the Saints didn't have they were barely, if they did make 500, it was barely. And I don't even think that is. I don't think that was the case. We've had a losing record with Mickey Loomis. Now, I'm not a fan of him. I certainly think he's botched the team, especially how money has been. But nevertheless, he has been with the Saints organization even longer than the current owner, Gail Benson. And she apparently is not going to get rid of him, from my understanding. He's actually was mentioned in Tom Benson, who's the Saints owner from the 80s until his death. He was in the will. So somehow or another, even if he's not general manager, he's going to be part of the team. But nevertheless, the Saints needed a quarterback to draft, because Derek Carr has been hurt again, and this is hurt in the offseason, and he's going to have surgery. So everyone was expecting the Saints to draft a quarterback, and the highest quarterbacks that were in the draft actually was Jackson Dart. It was between Jackson Dart and Shedeur Sanders. Now, they ended up drafting Tyler Tuff, who is a 7-year college quarterback who, if I'm not mistaken, from even reading my information, from reading his stats, he's only played a full season of college one time out of 7 years, and he transferred to different schools. The last school that he was with, that the Saints selected him from, was Louisville. Now, he's almost 26 years old, which is, he's at this point, when you're an NFL quarterback, you could be a seasoned veteran. But last season at Louisville, now he had a stellar season. He threw for 3,195 yards and 23 touchdowns. However, Shedeur Sanders, who had been in college football, of course, he started at Jackson State with his father, and subsequently he went to Colorado, transferring with his dad. Everywhere he learned football through his father. He actually had, obviously, the more statistics, better statistics than anyone else. Yet he was picked fifth. Now, this is what Sports Illustrated even says here. Look at the title on this article. They state, now I'm just talking about the Saints pick. They said, Saints shocking NFL draft selection has glaring red flag. Now, they would have rather pick an old white quarterback, Tyler Shuff, Tough, whatever the hell his name is. Tyler Shuff. I don't even know who this man was. He's older than Anthony Richardson, C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, Bo Nix, and Jaden Daniels. Those are the rookies that came in last year. Graduated high school in 2018. And has been in college in 7 years. And this is who the Saints basically drafted to be in competition with Spencer Rattler and, well, I don't know if Taysom Hill is coming back, but Spencer Rattler is the other quarterback that the Saints are looking at. And Derek Carr, who basically is a lemon. Derek Carr sucks as a quarterback. Everybody knows it. But the Saints ended up giving him $100 million. Brandon, I take it you don't follow football. I don't think you watch this. Shedeur is not on the draft is over with. Shedeur, and I'm going to get to that point. Everyone, especially in my Who Dat Nation, which especially black people that are Saints fans like myself, were pulling for Shedeur to get picked, and that didn't happen. Now, he did not get picked in the second round, and that was a shock to everybody, although I wasn't shocked by it because I just know the history of the Saints. And racism or not, the Saints have always been bad when it comes to draft selections. In the last 10 years, at least 6 of the first round draft picks that they had, they've drafted offensive linemen. And to say the least, to say that those draft picks have been good would be an understatement. They're not, or overstatement, I should say. They are not good. They have not been. You're sadly mistaken if they've been good. Out of all the draft picks we've had, they've either ended up injured or they don't live, or they don't have great careers at the end of the day. They don't last long with the Saints. I don't know why. There are some exceptions, of course, that have happened. That was during the Sean Payton era, but Sean Payton was an outstanding coach with the Saints, but that apparently, now that he's gone, hasn't happened. And so the Saints ended up picking this Tyler Soft as a quarterback. And they selected the first round a offensive lineman. Now, let's go over Calvin Banks Jr. was the first round, was the Saints had the 9th pick in the draft, and that's who they picked, a lineman. Now, I'm not saying the lineman isn't bad, and of course that's what the Saints need, but everybody was hoping Shedeur would have gotten first. And I didn't think he was going, I knew he wasn't going to go first, but I certainly thought maybe if he was going to be available second, that would have been a great pick to get. But everyone was surprised that Shedeur ended up getting picked 5th. He got picked 5th. Now, many people were calling this out, were upset that this happened. Everybody was shocked and surprised why he didn't get picked yet. Now, in fairness, Shedeur didn't do the NFL Combine. And a lot of people think that may have had something to do with it not making himself available. But they had also a unidentified scout who claimed that they had issues with Shedeur as far as his attitude and so forth, and how they're stating he reportedly, now I want you to look at this. They say he reportedly sandbagged his own, this is on Bleacher Report, that he sandbagged his own career, his own potential, and his own status. That's what they're saying. Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders, they stated he slipped to day 3 in the NFL draft. And speaking on CBS Sports headquarters, insider Jonathan Jones said sources told him Sanders more or less sandbagged interviews with teams that he didn't want to draft him. Jones added that Sanders did not give it his all during some of his meetings, which rubbed some of the teams the wrong way. Jones' report was consistent with some prior reports from NFL insider Josina Anderson and NFL draft insider Todd McShay. Anderson reported that an anonymous NFL quarterbacks coach said Sanders was, quote, brash and arrogant during pre-draft interviews, while McShay reported that some teams felt Sanders didn't have a professional approach during interviews. And my question to that is, who are the people who said that he was brash and arrogant? Why aren't they named? The New York Giants traded back into the first round at number 25 overall. So they traded to take Ole Miss Jackson Dart. Then the New Orleans Saints took Louisville's Tyler Shaw 40th overall in the second round. Alabama's Jalen Monroe went to the Seattle Seahawks at number 92. In the third round, and the Cleveland Browns selected Oregon's Dylan Gabriel 2 picks later. So in all, 5 quarterbacks came off the board over the first 2 days of the draft, and Sanders was not among them, which is something nobody could have predicted going in. Now, I want to say this. A lot of people, if you've ever watched the NFL, there are a lot of quarterbacks I remember from that were trash talkers. Phillip Rivers, I know he was very arrogant with stuff. They're saying he's brash and confident. Johnny Manziel, I definitely remember him when he was picked by the Cleveland Browns, and look how that lasted. Johnny Manziel, who they called Johnny Football, when he came from Texas A&M and ended up going to Cleveland, he was a first-round pick, and he didn't last that long in Cleveland. Manziel wasn't in the NFL, I think, even 3 years. He was a flop. Now you look at Shedeur's stats. Last season in Colorado, he led Colorado to their best record since 2016 with a 9-4 mark, completed 74% of his passes for 4,134 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, en route to be named Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. Now, I forgot to mention Jackson Dart was picked, but also Cam Ward from Miami. Cam Ward ended up going to Tennessee. Now, I think they had they were the first pick in the draft, if I'm not mistaken. His teammate Travis Hunter went to Jacksonville as the second pick in the draft. Now, what this all has to do with, guys, they say he's brash. I don't buy into that. A lot of this shit, and what it is that Deion Sanders is a successful father, a successful black man who has always eluded confidence. He's always been confident, if you want to say, and braggadocious. And one thing they do not like in America is a black man that stands on his own 2 feet and isn't shuffling and jiving and not looking for a pat on the head. Muhammad Ali was confident. Muhammad Ali was braggadocious with stuff. And, Brother Ali would go, he was so confident, he would predict the rounds he was going to knock the guy out. And he would do it. When he fought Sonny Liston, he said he would knock him out in 8 rounds. He ended up knocking him out in 7 by TKO. He said the same thing about George Foreman. He said if George Foreman's parachute doesn't open in 7 rounds, it'll never open. And he knocked Foreman out in 8. They liked Muhammad Ali when Muhammad Ali got sick because Ali couldn't talk anymore. Same thing with Richard Pryor. Of course it is. Well, he worked good. They say, well, he worked good with Deion. He worked good with Deion. How's he going to? I said, well, if he worked good with Deion and Deion is one of the greatest NFL players of all time, you don't think he taught his son to be professional? You don't think he taught his son the ins and outs of the ropes? Yeah. You don't think he taught him to allow play calling and so forth? He's better than some. And let's not forget the stats that y'all see that Shedeur did, that y'all saw. He didn't have an offensive line in Colorado. That Colorado offensive line, he was running for his life. And they were hitting him dirty. Yeah, they were taking late hits. He was getting hit out of bounds. He was getting hit below the waist. Hit after he threw the ball. Yeah, they took shots at Shedeur. They certainly didn't like. Of course, a lot of it has to do with they don't like what Deion Sanders has done because he has elevated that program in Colorado. A lot of people are saying that the slide to number 5 to the 5th round was unthinkable, unexplainable, according to Deion and Shiloh in a new video. Now, I don't own the rights to this, so I don't want to play the video, but they're saying that there were rumblings that a lot of people didn't view him as a first-round pick, but shit, I don't think this Tyler Schiff was a second-round pick. One full season of college football, and he's in the second round. And Shedeur had 3.
Teams have been loving Tyler
Yes.
Shough. The interesting thing is he will be 26 years old
Yes, he will.
by the time the season gets going. Let us talk about Tyler Shough, his fit in the Saints, and then we could talk about the decision to take him over Shedeur. Tyler Shough, a 12-0 touchdown to interception ratio.
Now, Kellen Moore is a new Saints coach, so he said he fit well in his system, but he also ended up praising Shedeur. I think now the thing about it being a racial element, the racial element plays in the fact that whenever there is a black man who is confident whenever there's a black person who is a star athlete, if they are overtly confident. White Americans don't like that. They like a black man who is quiet. It's very similar to why, and this is not a shot at him, but like you look at Joe Louis. When Joe Louis became heavyweight champion, they gave Joe Louis a set of rules he couldn't do. He couldn't gloat over his opponents. He couldn't smile. He couldn't be with a white woman. They didn't like that because Jack Johnson, who was the first black champion, the first black heavyweight champion of the world, white America didn't like that. Jack Johnson used to taunt his opponents in the ring, tell them, hit me harder. He used to do that. No, you missed me. He used to do all of that before Ali. And they didn't like that. And so when they didn't like that, they decided to go at, they told Joe Louis when he was to get him a shot at the title, he had to have a certain amount of rules, how to smile or when to smile, how to talk, really not to smile at all in any photographs. That's why if you look at Joe Louis photographs, you notice he's never smiling. Not until after he's retired. And look at what they did to Joe Louis. Now, yeah, Joe Louis was in the Army, gave up the prime of his career, and was forced to do menial jobs just to pay back taxes that the government had already collected. He signed the checks over to him. And they still wanted double the money. I did see it, yeah. Trump even called them out. And no, and probably Deion didn't want him to go to certain teams. I don't doubt that either. I'm sure Deion was in his ear. Of course. But hey. If y'all think that was a problem, if you had a problem with Deion Sanders doing it, what did you think about this? I remember this 20 years ago. In 2004, Eli Manning gets selected to the New York Giants. He was originally selected by the San Diego Chargers.
Again, I don't know what's going to happen right now. I don't know what the Chargers are going to do. So, if my name's called first or whenever it's called, I'm going to do what everybody else does.
If the Chargers call your name when I talk to you after the pick, will you be wearing a Chargers hat?
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
With the first choice in the 2004 NFL Draft, the San Diego Chargers select Eli Manning, cornerback, Mississippi.
Well, a moment that he's dreamt about, that Peyton has lived, and Archie as the number 2 pick overall in 71 was as close to, is not quite at this moment what he might have thought. However,
here's the thing about this is, and speaking with Archie this
wait a
week.
minute, hold on, Mort. Classy move. He's holding up a Charger jersey. Let's notice that.
Visiting with Archie this week, he has expressed this. He hates this for Eli because he knows this is supposed to be the best weekend of his life right now, and he understands that what has come out publicly has spoiled this somewhat for Eli. And now they're trying to do the right thing by the NFL and certainly by Eli as well.
And he's doing the right thing.
Now I remember this, and then subsequently they traded with the New York Giants, and Eli ended up going to the New York Giants. Now, nobody had a problem with this. Eli went on to have a successful career with the Giants. Likely he's not in the Hall of Fame yet, but he likely will be. Yeah, and Trump did call out. I did see that, and I commented on it the other day. Yes, Donald Trump even called out the teams for passing up Shedeur, and he praised Deion Sanders. So this video, by the way, and what you saw earlier, so Tariq Nasheed shared this, and I showed the video to you on YouTube just a second ago. This is the man who's, this person has been identified We're
Hey, is this
talking
Shedeur?
about this person who's wearing an Ole Miss sweater is calling Shedeur Sanders, prank calling him, saying that he's going to get picked by the New Orleans Saints. Now, let me play it one more time for those.
This is Mickey Loomis here, the GM of the New Orleans Saints. How you doing? This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good. How are you, man?
Good. Been waiting on you.
Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man. We're gonna take you with our next pick right here, man.
It's ain't gonna be legendary.
But you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, man. Sorry about that.
Oh my God! He's funny.
Hey, is this
Who's
Shedeur?
Coon in there with him? Y'all see that's a black man. That's a black person recording this video, by the way. I saw the leg.
Oh my God! He's funny.
Hey, here, man. How are you, man?
Did y'all see?
This is Mickey Loomis here, the GM of the
We
New
see it in
Orleans
the other
Saints. How you doing? This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good. How are you, man?
Did y'all see it?
Sorry about that.
Oh my God! He's funny.
Hey, is this Shedeur?
Somebody was recording it. Now, people were asking how did the prankster get his number and so forth. Well, it turns out we have an answer for that. Now, the NFL is investigating. They stated they were investigating this, but about an hour ago, it was broke out who the person was. Now, the video actually, there's a video of when Shedeur is picking up the phone. There's video of Shedeur picking up the phone. Of course, this is the perspective from the prank caller, but we got video footage of Shedeur picking up the phone at the time this happened. You wrote, I'd rather him make prank phone calls than mass shootings. I'd rather him just be a decent human being. How about that, Spirit? You can't excuse this shit. Be fucking decent. Be a douchebag here.
Hello. You got that call? You know what's going on?
Ready to go.
Say it one more time for me.
This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good. How are you, man?
Good. Been waiting on you.
Ready to go.
Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man.
No, for sure.
We're gonna take you with our next pick right here, man.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Let's be legendary.
But you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, man.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Ready to go.
What does that mean? What? What he saying? I don't know. How you gonna ask us what it means and you was on the phone? You heard that?
You said you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer.
Louisville, by way of many other schools.
Hey, Saints fans, this is Tyler Shuck. I'm so excited to be joining the Saints and having this awesome opportunity ahead of me. Can't wait to get.
Yeah, who needs you? So they did that. Now we know who this scumbag is. We know who this little brat is. According to the reports, Jeff Albridge, who is a defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, has a son named Jax Albridge, who's 21 years old, who actually got the phone number and did the prank call. So we've identified the prank caller as Jax Albridge, who called Shedeur's draft contact phone number off of an open iPad while visiting his parents' home and wrote down the number to conduct the call, according to the Falcons. Jax Albridge said the call, quote, called the call a, quote, a tremendous mistake in an Instagram post. The Falcons will not take action against Jeff Albridge, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, and the team is reviewing their protocols to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. The prank came as Sanders continued to fall in the draft on Friday, with a video on social media showing the quarterback receiving a call from someone impersonating New Orleans Saints general manager Mickey Loomis. According to the Instagram post, Jax Albridge wrote, "Shedeur, what I did was completely inexcusable, embarrassing, and shameful. I'm so sorry that I took away from your moment. It was selfish and childish. I could never imagine getting ready to celebrate one of the greatest moments of your life, and I made a terrible mistake and messed with that moment. Thank you for accepting my call earlier today. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me." The Falcons said Jeff Albridge was unaware that his son obtained Sanders' number and was unaware of the planned prank. The Atlanta Falcons do not condone this behavior and send our sincere apologies to Shedeur Sanders and his family, who we have been in contact with to apologize, as well as facilitate an apology directly from Jax to the Sanders family. The Falcons statement read, "We have also been in contact with the NFL and will continue to cooperate fully with any inquiries we might receive from the NFL League office. We are thoroughly reviewing all protocols and updating if necessary to help prevent an incident like this from happening again." In a conference call with the Cleveland area reporters after he was drafted by the Browns in the 5th round Saturday, Sanders said he wasn't bothered by the prank call. "It really doesn't have an impact on me," he said, because it was just like, okay, like I don't feed into negativity or I don't feed into that stuff. You've seen on Deion Sanders Jr.'s YouTube video my reaction to it. I don't. It is what it is. I think, of course, it is childish. Of course, I feel like it was a childish act, but everybody does childish things here and there. So he gets picked by the Browns. He gets picked by the Browns. I would rather him stay undrafted. Shit. The Browns are terrible too. If y'all think the Saints are bad, the Saints are bad, but shit, Cleveland is even worse predicament. Look at Deshaun Watson. They got $200 million. And I like Deshaun Watson. I think he got screwed over after Houston, and especially with that lawsuit, Tony Busby. Everyone's favorite ambulance chasing lawyer, Busby, now who's suing Shannon Sharp, who's also suing Diddy and sued Jay-Z in that lawsuit that was false. So now they're going to Shedeur. So Jeff Albridge's son, Jax Albridge, the little demon in training, is the one who did this. Jeff Albridge, I believe, was a former coach for the New York Jets. Okay. So, yeah. And y'all notice what sweater that fool was wearing, huh? In that prank call video. Y'all notice the sweater? Ole Miss. So they identified Jax Albridge, and they said this lady, and I don't know if this is true because I didn't see a woman, Tyler Warren, who was involved. But what it seems like, which is possible, yeah, I don't think she was involved. I didn't see anything like that. No, she's not involved. So it was Albridge, and Albridge goes to Ole Miss. Ole Miss with Old Rebel. That Rebel mascot. Y'all remember that? There was a player who said Ole Miss was one of the most racist places he ever played at. I can't think of the athlete who said that. Somebody said the most racist place he ever played was at Ole Miss. Yeah. Ole Miss.
Wait a little bit longer, man.
How you doing?
Good. How are you, man?
Good.
I knew it.
This is Mickey Loomis. We have. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you can see this. I was right. There's a black leg in it. Yeah, some black dude was recording that. I'm positive. Look at the original video on X. If I was Dion, I'd be raising holy hell. Yeah, the league is investigating it. They say they're not going to discipline the father, but personally, if it were up to me to set an example, I'd be cruel with it. I'd fire the dad if I was the Atlanta Falcons. I would fire the dad to set an example to this little brat that actions have consequences, and those actions, those consequences that result from your actions affect others. You took away a moment from somebody else. And this wasn't just some innocent, harmless prank. This is somebody's livelihood. This is what they've been waiting for. And you shitting on it. And you affected him, you affected his parents, his family who were there trying to celebrate him and this moment. And you did so for a stupid reason. Everybody does something stupid and childish. I'm not saying you can't be forgiven, but I even had to learn when I've had, there are mistakes that I've made. I'm not going to lie and pretend I'm perfect, but there were consequences to stuff I did. And what people will learn, especially if something were to happen that hits you financially, that's the only way you're going to learn that I shouldn't have done this. Maybe I won't do this in the past or repeat this anymore. And it's clear. Of course they did. Because though, and I knew it was somebody that worked in the NFL that number had to have gone to, because they give those lines out. That's only given out by the league. It wasn't their private line, and that's to prevent stuff like this. So it's a shame of what happened to him, but and falling in the draft, and then on top of that, you go to the Cleveland Browns, which is worse. So somewhere or another, when you would have been making 40 million if you were a first round draft pick, or 30 million or whatever, to now to the point where you're the fifth round pick, you don't, of course, are not going to be making the amount of money you thought you would make. So he likely would have went from making 30 or 40 million to now $4 million from what I've seen. So his prospects went down. It affects your money, obviously. And of course, it was done on purpose. You're not going to tell me they didn't do this to Shedeur on purpose. Now, yeah, he may have not gone to the NFL combine and done stuff. And yes, if you're trying to get drafted in a league or you're trying to get a job anywhere, you do have to be humble. Don't get me wrong. You have to be professional. But here's the thing. That's what they reported. They reported he wasn't doing this and he wasn't humble enough and all this stuff. Why is it black men always have to be the ones that have to be humble? You ever thought of that? No other group of people, when they're trying to get a job, they ever go and tell them, you need to humble yourself. You need to actually be accept everything. You gotta accept this. You gotta accept defeat. You gotta be courageous in defeat. All of this bullshit that they don't do. All of this crap. There's a reason they're upset. They don't like Dion. They don't like, there's a reason why they don't even like the brother, the director, Ryan Coogler, and what he's doing with that movie Sinners. Shout out to Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, that whole cast. That was an excellent movie. I got to do a review on it. We saw it last weekend, and that movie, it was very deep. But Coogler had a deal with the move, had a deal. I think in the next 25 years, he's going to get the rights to the movie. But you notice they've been bad mouthing the movie. They've started bad mouthing it. Even Ben Stiller had to call him out. How does a movie make $60 million and y'all say it's a flop? They tried to say it wasn't successful. You made $60 million in your opening weekend, your first weekend. And you have a headline that says, well, it's not successful. It had a $90 million budget and it made $63 million on Easter weekend. Variety wrote this shit. They said Sinners has amassed $61 million in his global debut. It's a great result for an original R-rated film. Yet the Warner Brothers release has a $90 million price tag before global marketing expenses, so profitability remains away. What the hell are you saying? It's opening weekend. And the movie, if this is the second week, so this opened last week. Look at the results, the box office. You can go to Wikipedia. It's easy. You can Google on Wikipedia. Yeah, Ryan has a deal. He did an interview with Democracy Now! About it. He's been making his rounds. Yeah, Coogler has a deal where he gets the rights to the film.
And talk about what you negotiated in making Sinners, the arrangement you had with Warner Brothers. The New York Times reports Warner Brothers agreed to spend $90 million to make Sinners and agreed to give you a cut of gross ticket sales, now rare arrangement known as first dollar gross, meaning before they recoup their costs, you're getting money as well. Warner also agreed, and this is absolutely key, to relinquish its ownership of the film to you after 25 years. The Times reports, quote, some rival film companies were horrified that Warner Brothers would give a film away even after a period of time.
Maybe add some context that maybe those articles did not. I'm not the first filmmaker to get any of these deals, and Warner Brothers is not the first studio to provide these deals to a filmmaker. So like I think that a lot has been made of my deal in particular. I'm not totally sure why. I have my guesses. But I've been in the industry long enough to know what kind of deals are possible, and nothing about this deal is a new thing.
What's your guesses, Ryan?
I'd rather not say, but the attention on what's happening with this project, outside of it as a piece of art and as a piece of commerce has been very interesting, but for me, this film was very important to me. As a writer director, I've made over $2 billion at the global box office. I'm not yet 40 years old. It's taken a lot of time, commitment, energy, and I've missed out on a lot of things in my life. Making films that will always be owned by other people. For this one, because it was so personal, and because I had the ability to negotiate. I asked for a few things that were very important to me for this project. And for what it was about and what it meant to me and my family. And thankfully, I was able to get those things I was asking for from Warner Brothers.
Yeah, he did good business, and they hating. He did good business. So anyway, y'all. I wasn't going to be too long with this, but you do good business, and that's what Deion Sanders is trying to do for his kids. He wants them to be successful. I look at him. I look at LeVar Ball. I look at But look at all the black fathers: Richard Williams, Joe Jackson. They got something negative to say about them, but don't let them spoil your. Don't let them ruin your success. I think they're doing phenomenal. I certainly hope there's more. There's going to be more to come with this. I'm looking at the stats too. I mean, Shedeur had better stats than most of the than all the quarterbacks available, and you passed on him. Well, he's braggadocious. He's too cocky. So what? Brady was cocky. Brady would trash talk. Brady cursed his. I remember when Tom Brady cursed his coordinator out. Don't buy into that shit. So anyway, guys, best of luck though to Shedeur Sanders and all of the stars, all of the players that were drafted in NFL. But yeah, I felt sorry for Shedeur that happened. But best of luck to him. I'm sure he's gonna show off in Cleveland. Anyway, guys, look, you love me for my time. Hey, drop something in the Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle. As you know, my channel is not monetized, so anything you can give would help. Danielle said my daughter and boyfriend went to see that movie last weekend, and they told me it was a good movie. Yeah, you would like it, Danielle. It's horror, but it's also just not a horror. It's also a drama. It's got music. It's musical. It's got music in it. So there's a link to the music. There's a link to music throughout the whole film because it's set in Mississippi. So you would love it. All right, y'all. Y'all be safe and be blessed. We're going to wrap this thing up. This wasn't going to be a long live stream. Shout out to my family on Rumble, by the way. They don't give me the views when I'm on StreamYard as to how many people are watching the channel on Rumble. But shout out to my family on Rumble. You can actually subscribe to Random Topics. That is my channel. That is my channel's Random Topics. Make sure you go there and check out the channel. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you subscribe. All right. And I will see you all in the next one. We had 50, 60 people, my family on X. Shout out to y'all too. Yeah, happy birthday again, Brother Andrew. Brother Andrew Wyatt, happy birthday to you, all right? All right, y'all be safe and be blessed. All right. I'll holla. Peace. Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.